Hello, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Um, Welcome to this channel, Meditation Breaks. My name's Keith. If you are brand new here, I'm your meditation teacher. On this channel, we're here to learn about meditation, and we look at the concept of meditation from a bunch of different angles. There's a lot of different ways you can meditate, things you can do with it. We're all interested in learning it for different reasons. So I like to think of this channel as a kind of meditation cookbook, right? And each week we're going to go through a different recipe, and hopefully you're going to find some that you like, and then you could perfect on your own. It's a good cooking analogy, which is ironic considering I'm not that great of a cook. So if you're new, and you're like, hey, cool, I like the whole cookbook thing, but I don't even know the 101 of meditation. Even though we do have a specific topic this week, we always start with an introduction, as if you have no knowledge of meditation, never tried it before, because this is a lot of people's first time, which is amazing. So we will start this class by introducing meditation. What is it? How does it work? Why does it work? Why bother? All those questions that we have when we're first becoming exposed to this practice. And then we're going to do a short meditation together. Short. Don't worry. Not going to be leaving you in silence for an hour. And after that, kind of all get our feet wet a little bit with regards to how to meditate. And then we're going to get into our topic. And this is our topic for today, is all about changing your relationship with other people, which is a little vague, kind of on purpose. But this is one of, if not my favorite meditation to teach, to do. I think it's been the most impactful over it's probably been about 15 years that I've been meditating. And so I'm really excited to share with it. It's one that I do semi-regularly on this channel. So if you're not new, you've probably done it before, but it's all based in gratitude and recognizing all the great things that other people have done for us. Cool? All right. So last bit of news before we get started. If you're new, I do encourage you to ask questions. It's always Q&A time here. You can see some people chatting in the chat box here right now. If you do have a question, feel free to ask at any time. I will stop what I'm doing as soon as I see it and answer. This is the beauty of live stream. I am here. I'm not with you physically, but in a way I am. And so you can take advantage of that by asking me anything as it comes up, right? If you think of something after the class has ended, I will give out my email so you can always have a communication with me as you're learning how to do meditation on your own. All right? Cool. So, what is meditation? Great first question, right? So when we think about this word, everybody thinks about the same thing, right? Julie, welcome back. I'm so glad. When we think about the word meditation, everyone kind of thinks about the same thing, right? This image pops into our mind. Somebody is sitting cross-legged with their eyes closed. They look very calm, which is also surprising considering that they're always in like an uncomfortable looking position, right? They're like cross-legged on a hardwood floor. So this is our kind of generic image of what meditation is, right? The emoji right on your phone. That's what it looks like. So this is a way to meditate. But this is not the definition of meditate. In order to practice meditation, you don't need to be cross-legged on the floor with your eyes closed. Right? So a more, I think, appropriate definition for it is that meditation is a technique used to train your mind in familiarity, to train your mind to become familiar with something. Right? Kind of a strange definition, because we don't really walk around saying things like, I'm going to familiarize my mind with how to do this. It's just not something we do, but it's happening all the time. We've become incredibly familiar with so many different things, so many different tasks, abilities, emotions throughout our entire life. And when we become familiar with something, right, there's kind of like a hidden superpower, right? Like a hidden kind of takeaway when we become super familiar with something. Right? The more familiar we are with something, the less effort we have to put into it kind of coming to us naturally or arising, right? And this can be seen in some of the physical actions that we do, right? So that's something you don't really need to think about doing anymore. Tying your shoe or walking, riding a bike, if that's something you learned when you were a kid. These are all things that come probably very naturally to you at this point in your life. You don't need to think about the, inner mechanics of how to walk in order to walk, right? But when you were a little kid, I have a new nephew. He can't walk. He can't even really crawl that well, right? That this thing that comes so naturally to us, it wasn't always that way, right? We weren't all just born being with this beautiful gait, this stride down the street. So what happened in between it not being second nature to us and becoming pretty effortless? Practice, right? Familiarity. Our body, our mind, a little bit each day. We're practicing, we're making some improvements, and then we reach the point where this thing that was once very challenging or took a lot of mental capacity for us to kind of figure out what to do, it's become like second nature, right? And this is our kind of gift and our curse as humans, right? This is the gift and the curse of our human mind, because this can lead to incredible things, right? We can teach our mind anything that we want, right? But it works both ways. So when we think about something like anger or something like anxiety, which is, I got into meditation originally for clinical anxiety, this holds true for that as well, right? So if we are super familiar with getting frustrated, our frustrated self is going to start to pop up pretty regularly, right? Just because we're practicing being frustrated a lot, right? Our mind does what it's familiar with. So meditation is one of our techniques to start to dictate, what do you want your mind to be familiar with, right? Now you might be thinking, I thought meditation was just about relaxing, Keith. I would like to just relax. Stop. What are you talking about? Well, the reason that meditation relaxes you isn't because meditation brings relaxation out of thin air. It is teaching you to become really familiar with relaxed you. It's in there. That version of you that is very calm, cool, thinking objectively about your problems, the one that you probably want to be there all the time, but maybe is few and far between. That version of you exists already. You know it, right? If we think and we're honest with ourselves, we know that version of us exists. And meditation, using meditation to relax ourselves, what it's doing is really teaching you to become so familiar with that version of yourself, relaxed you. They don't have to try so hard for relaxed you to show up. It starts to become your default, right? Wouldn't that be nice? Right? So this is our goal with meditation. We are training our mind to focus and become familiar with the things that you want it to be familiar with, right? Right now, it might seem like our mind is kind of in control, right? We're watching our favorite show, and all of a sudden we start to think about that project we have to do at work tomorrow. And, we're getting nervous about it. What if I say something embarrassing? And we're like, come on, mind, it's my favorite show. I don't want to think about this right now, right? So this is our battle right now with our own mind. Sometimes it seems like mind is, hey, let's think about this. And we're like, oh, I don't know if I didn't really want to, right? So this is a technique and choice, which is a beautiful thing, right? We can start to develop some ownership over our own thoughts, take back ownership of our own thoughts, and start to really hone the type of person that we want to show up regularly. What version of us do we want to show up regularly? Cool? Okay. So that's all well and good. Well, how do we go about doing this lovely thing you're talking about? So when we start learning meditation, and maybe you have already tried this, breathing meditation is one of the most common entry points. And it's a really good entry point because your breath is always with you. This is a very important point because we don't need a list of specific prerequisites in order to meditate, right? We don't need perfect quiet. Might be nice. We don't need to go to a beautiful, serene lake. Might be nice, right? We don't need those things. We have everything that we need to train our mind. And focusing on your breath is kind of a way of teaching yourself that a little subconsciously, right? So this is a reason why I think breathing meditation is really good to start with. So all types of meditation, including breathing meditation, are really something called single-pointed concentration. Fancy. All it means is focusing on one thing. Now, do you think you're more familiar with focusing on one thing or focusing on 1 million things? We're multitaskers, right? Or even if we don't identify as one. What I just did, I took a sip of water while talking to you, thinking about what I was going to say. It's multitasking. We are very well practiced in multitasking, which is great for getting, tasks done. Not the best for being super relaxed. So when we're learning meditation, which is essentially choosing to focus on one thing exclusively, there might be some resistance there. Not because you're not capable of doing this, but why? Your mind is way more familiar with not this, right? Doing the other thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a breathing meditation together. And instructionally, pretty straightforward. We're going to choose to focus single-pointedly on our breath. Step 1. 2, while we're doing that, and I'll be doing this as a guided meditation. You're not going to be on your own. While we're doing that, focusing single-pointedly on our breath, whenever we notice our mind starting to drift into other things, I wonder what I'm going to cook later after this, I don't know, some random thought that comes up. We're just going to be like, not right now, right? That's what we say here. That's kind of our little saying, not right now. We're not dismissing the thoughts as unimportant. We're just saying, not right now. We're focusing on our breath, right? And then we're going to guide our attention back to breathing, right? So we're choosing to focus single-pointedly on our breath, noticing when our attention drifts, and just guiding it back. And that's going to be like a little loop. And we're going to do that as many times as you need to. It doesn't matter how many times you drift. Don't worry about it. The goal of meditation isn't to never be distracted, but to start to recognize when you are and be able to do something about it, right? So you don't need to kind of count how many times you're distracted or anything like that. We're just going to, this is our practice. This is what we're going to do, all right? And one of the byproducts of doing this, in addition to also kind of teaching our mind this concept of focusing on what you want to focus on, is we're going to start to relax a little bit, right? Our mind is very busy. It's got a lot going on. And the more information we dedicate towards, the more concentration we dedicate towards one thing, there's not as much room for the other things, is there? Right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do it together, and hopefully you enjoy it. So the thing that I'll start by saying, you don't need to be cross-legged on the floor. We were joking about that a little earlier, but I don't know if you can see, but I'm in a chair. I'm not sitting cross-legged on a floor. Now you can be if you're like, Keith, I love being cross-legged on the floor. Go right ahead. Do whatever you want. But it's not a prerequisite for being able to meditate. You want to lay down? Go lay down. Make sure you're comfortable. That's the most important thing, right? So everybody take a moment and kind of get settled into whatever your seating arrangement is. Get nice and comfortable. And you can go ahead and close your eyes. Closing your eyes isn't necessarily necessary, but I think it helps with some visual distractions. And I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation. Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, first things first, take a moment and check in with yourself. What do I mean by that? I mean, ask yourself, how am I feeling? What is my mind up to in this exact moment? We're not analyzing things that happened earlier. We're just observing what our mind feels like right now. Maybe you're feeling tired. You had a long day. Maybe you're feeling energetic. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. We're not doing anything about it. We're just noticing. This is called mindfulness. It is an active awareness of your own thoughts, moment to moment, for the purpose of being able to respond skillfully to those thoughts. Having done that, you can now make a choice. You can choose to focus single-pointedly, exclusively on your own breath. Breathing in and out, very gently and very naturally. You do not need to change anything about how you normally breathe. You don't need to take big, deep inhales or forcefully exhale air. However you normally breathe, that's what I want you to do. In and out. Very gently, very naturally. As you begin to relax a little bit into your chair or cushion, we are single-pointedly focused on our breath, trying to follow each moment of each breath. See if you can stay with the air as it enters your body, filling your lungs, and then watching it as it exits back into the atmosphere. A moment-to-moment awareness of breathing in and out. Very gently, very naturally. At some point, you'll notice your mind drifting. This is very natural. Your mind is used to thinking about a lot of things, and so that's what it wants to do. So whenever you notice this has happened, that your mind is starting to think about something that happened earlier, today or something coming up later, we can just say not right now to those thoughts. We will get to them later on. And then guide your attention back to your breath. Back to following the air as it enters and exits your body. Breathing in and out very gently and naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever it drifts. This process of choosing to focus exclusively on your breath, noticing when your attention is drifting a bit, and then being able to guide your attention back to breathing. That cycle, that is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind to focus. You're training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, the only thing that you want to focus on is breathing in and breathing out gently, naturally, as you begin to relax even more into your chair or cushion. So just for the last few moments, just enjoy sitting here, breathing. That's it. No need to think about anything else. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello, welcome back. This always happens to me. It gets like so dark in this room right around this time. Hold on, let's see if I can, so you can see me. Okay. So that was a pretty straightforward meditation. Hopefully, it was relaxing, but maybe you found it like, man, my mind's all over the place. What's going on in there? This is very common. When we start meditating, a very common response is, it seems like my mind's busier. Wait a minute, that's not what I wanted. We were just noticing how busy our mind is all day long. This is what it does all day long. It's jumping from thing to thing, right? And so, we all have very high expectations of ourselves. And so we're like, all right, I'll just focus on my breath. That's it. Yeah. And our mind's like, nah, I don't do that. And so it's a training, right? It's a slow burn. It's the type of thing that this will feel more normal as you practice this, right? Regular practice will help. And you'll get to the point where you can kind of just start to settle in more quickly, right? Cool. So this is just a little introduction to breathing meditation. I'm going to move on to our topic for today because it is a little of a longer meditation, not anything too long, but I want to make sure I have time for it, right? Okay. Riley, it's a very great exercise. I just noticed my mind still drifts, but with practice, I'll get it. So this is a very important thing, and I struggled with this mightily for years, right? It is very common when we start to meditate that we want the end result to be that we never get distracted. That's what we want, right? But this is not the goal, right? And I know that's kind of maybe sounds a little counterintuitive, like we're trying to practice not getting distracted. But what I mean by this is that the practice itself is the goal, right? And this can be a tough thing to, not just with meditation, but with anything we're learning, right? It's going to take some time, right? And I think it's a very important. I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again because I do think it's quite important. The goal of meditation is not to never be distracted, but rather to start to notice when you are distracted and be able to do something about it if you want to, right? Maybe you start to think about work and you're like, you know what? I really should be thinking about work right now. That's what I want to do. That's fine, right? That's like good. That we're trying to gain control over our thinking from, as best we can. And part of that is, we got to recognize when our mind's doing other stuff. All right. Okay. So we're going to shift a little bit into our topic for today. And our topic, I mentioned this is, if I had to choose one meditation that I think has been the most impactful to me personally, it would be this one. And ironically enough, it was the one that I hated doing when I first started doing this. First started meditating a long, long time ago. And this is, if you've been coming here a while, you've probably done this with me before. Sometimes we'll call it like a gratitude meditation. But it's really much more than that. And I think when I think of this meditation, I like to think of it as starting to change the way our relationship with everyone around us, right? So when we think about things we're grateful for, right? A lot of times it's things, our job, our house, something abstract like health. But all these things come from people, right? Our job created by people, our house was built by people. And so people are really kind of at the core of a lot of things we're grateful for. Not to say that we aren't grateful for people. We are, right? But it's kind of like a short list if we really are being honest with ourselves, right? And this kind of it leads into this. It's like this subconscious tier system that we have developed for ourselves, right? So there's at the center, it's like kind of rings of importance is us. This is not a selfish thing, this is like how we operate, we're doing things. We're ourselves, I, me, you're you, right? And so we're kind of at the center of this structure. And then if we fan out a little bit, we have our family, our close friends, like best friends, which basically we consider family, we start to reach out a little bit more. Some acquaintances, right? People we work with, we see them regularly. Maybe we're not going to their birthday party or something, but they're part of our life. And then we go out a little bit more, and this is a big old ring here. That's everybody else. Strangers, grocery store clerk that we see once in a while. That's a big group of individuals, right? And so the closer the circle is, so when you think about that tier one, your family and friends, we have kind of a natural compassion for them, right? We recognize the importance that they have in our life, right? Best friends always there for us, have great times together, right? And so because of that, we have a natural inclination to want to repay that kindness, right? Not necessarily with a physical gift, but just to be nice, to them, to help them when they need help, right? That's the kind of intrinsic benefit of compassion, is we don't have to try so hard to give back, right? To exert our kindness back, right? And so the goal of this meditation is to start to think about our life. We're going to think about our day because life's long. And we're going to think about all of the people that were involved in making our day possible. And we're going to keep an eye out for maybe some individuals that we hadn't really thought were key components of this. Sometimes I like to liken this to the credits after a movie. You know, you watch it. You know about credits? Nobody watches them. So you watch this great movie, and then sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna. You know who was great in this movie? So and so. I'm gonna watch these credits and see who that was, so I can go see their other movies, right? And so we watch the credits, and they're usually at the top of the list, main actor, actress, or supporting, and we're like, oh, they were fantastic. They made this movie so enjoyable, right? And then we usually go and we turn off the credits. But if we let the credits run, what happens? That list is immense. Okay. And the further down the list of credits that we go, we start to see all sorts of stuff, maybe even words we haven't even heard of. Like, I don't know, like a technical boom mic technician, I don't know. But like that person, the boom mic technician, you know what a boom mic is? It's like when they're trying to get audio, those little funny sticks. Like that person was integral to your enjoyment of this movie, right? We don't attribute them to being an integral part of it, but they are, right? You ever watch a movie that has really bad audio? It's not very enjoyable, right? And so our life is kind of like a movie, and we are going to, usually we don't even think about the credits, but we're going to think about the credits, and we're going to think about the credits of our day. It's a bit more manageable. And let's see if there's any boom mic techs out there that maybe are a huge part of helping us get to where we are in our day and do the things that we want to do and like to do. And maybe by virtue of realizing how important they are, we're going to bring them out of the tier 3 everyone else pool extras, and we're going to bring them in a little closer. They don't got to be family or friend or family or best friends, but let's bring them in a little bit closer. Cool? Okay. So we'll start this meditation pretty similarly to how we did the last one. Just very briefly, we're going to do some breathing meditation just to settle in again. It's always a great idea to do some breathing meditation, right? Brenda, welcome. So after that, I'm going to guide us through this. It's not too long. It's a little longer than what we did. Maybe, 7 minutes or something like that. And I will guide us through this. So you just kind of sit there, relax. You can listen to what I'm saying and, enjoy it. All right. Okay, cool. So get comfy. You can change your seat if you weren't pleased with it previously. Go ahead and close your eyes. And take a moment. Just check in again quickly. What's your mind up to? How are you feeling? We're not comparing it to before. Before is done. Just now. And having acknowledged what our mind is up to, we can make a choice. We can choose once again to focus single-pointedly on our breath. Breathing in and out gently, naturally. Just for a little while. Let's settle in. Let's relax. See if you can stay focused single-pointedly on the air as it makes its journey from the atmosphere into your lungs and then out again. Breathing in breathing out gently, naturally. If you find your mind starting to think about other things, something you have to do after this class ends or tomorrow at work, we can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. And guide your attention back to breathing. In and out, very gently and very naturally. We are decluttering our mind. When a room is messy, can't find things, it's not clear where things are located. Our mind is the same. We're taking a moment to clear the clutter in our mind. And as a result, reveal some wonderful things about ourselves. Reveal that our mind is naturally peaceful and calm and clear, and we can use it as such to think about something that's important. This is sometimes called contemplation. So we're going to do a little contemplation now. And I'm going to guide us through it. So you just continue to sit there and relax and listen and follow along. This morning, you presumably woke up in a home or apartment. Who built that home or apartment? Probably don't know, but somebody did. In order to build that home or that apartment, the builders needed tools. Who made those tools? We don't know, but somebody did. The materials needed to make the tools, those were mined, gathered by other individuals. Countless people involved in building our home, our apartment, this place of refuge where we start our day. How kind of them to do that. Maybe you woke up in a nice comfy bed. Who made the mattress? The soft sheets, the pillow. All of it designed, crafted, developed, produced, shipped by other people solely for the purpose of allowing people to wake up feeling rested, ready to take on their day. How kind of them to do so. Maybe after you'd gone up, you took a shower. Who ran all of the plumbing to get clean, hot water into your shower? Somebody invented a way for you to select the exact temperature that you would prefer in your shower. A little hotter, a little colder, and you do it all with the flick of a wrist. Countless years, energy spent developing this technology so that you can have the most enjoyable shower experience possible. We've never met that person, and yet they're a part of our lives every day. Maybe after your shower, you had a little breakfast. Maybe a piece of fruit. Think of all the people that made it possible for that piece of fruit to be in your hand. Someone planted the seeds, tended to the crops, selected the best possible candidates of fruit, packaged them up in a package provided by other people, and then that package was shipped. Maybe it was driven by someone in a truck from very far away, spending days away from their family to deliver this fruit to a grocery store near you. A grocery store managed, painstakingly organized by other people so that you can walk in, find the exact piece of fruit that you like, and go about your day. Countless individuals that we've never met, intimately responsible for that breakfast in your hand. Now you might be thinking to yourself, sure, but I paid for the fruit. I pay for my house with my money. Where did you get that money? Maybe from your job, your employer, a business run by somebody else. They hired you over countless candidates who probably wanted that job. How kind of them to take a chance on us. And then maybe you're thinking, yeah, but I was the best candidate. That's why I got the job. Well, who taught you those skills to be the best candidate? Who taught you how to read, how to write, how to present yourself favorably, how to speak in public? We were not born with any of these skills. We learned them from our parents, our teachers, our friends, even TV. All sorts of different sources helped contribute to making us the best candidate. Everything that we have ever done, everything that we have, it comes from other people. It is made possible through other people. If you were to give back everything that someone else had a part in giving you, we would have nothing at all. We were born with no clothes, even our body, a gift to us by our parents. We can often become fixated on thinking of ourselves as extremely independent. But really, we're all kind of like cells in the same body. We are interdependent. We need each other to thrive. Everyone has importance. And so just for the last few moments here, I'd like you to just play back your morning. See if anything pops out. Is there anyone involved? Somebody maybe way down their credits. That was actually a really integral part of making your day possible and enjoyable. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. The movie has ended. We watched the credits. Great. Great job, us. That is a really awesome, in my opinion, thing to meditate on. And one of the reasons I think it's so good is not only is it like illuminating the importance of people that, not that we're like, you're not important, but we just it never even occurred to us how integral they are to our lives, right? Not only is it illuminating that, but this is something that you can do like outside of meditation. You know, when you go to the coffee shop to get coffee or something, right? Maybe we can think about, think of all the people who were involved in putting this cup of coffee in my hand, you know? It's not just the barista or whatnot, right? Somebody made the machine, the coffee beans, like the cup itself, like designed so you don't spill all yourself. Like all of this is like very intentionally done to benefit you, right? And I think the reason why this is such a great meditation is because you can do it easily outside of meditation, right? You don't have to just do this when you're sitting down. This can be something that you introduce as a little game for yourself throughout your day. And what does that do, right? The more familiar we are with this way of thinking, what happens with familiarity? What's our superpower? The less we have to try for it to come up, the less we have to try to be compassionate to other people, the more we'll recognize the importance and contributions of other people. We will naturally bring them closer to us. They will not be in stranger tier 3 territory, right? Janice, thanks. I'm glad. Nina, yeah. So like, I'm glad that stuck with you. That was this is if you never did any other meditation, I think this is probably the best one, right? Patrick, thanks. That means a lot. Rosa, I appreciate that too. So that's all for today. Thank you for being here. If you did have a good time, I encourage you to come back every week, barring some sort of event that I need to attend. I do these live streams. We always focus on something different. It's all meditation related, you know? So come on back. We'll talk about something else. Riley asked if I could do something on anxiety soon. Guess what? It's happening next week. Unless I forget. No, I think that's a great topic. We haven't done it in a while, so let's do that. It's very common. Okay. Oh, Mary, I'm sorry. You can't hear me anymore? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe, hopefully, maybe on the replay it'll be better. All right. So if you enjoyed this and you're like, hey, I would really like to see where meditation can take me. I do teach one-on-ones. It's a great way to learn. It's very laid-back environment. Those who have been around know I'm pretty lighthearted, and so it's a very good environment for learning. We could focus on things that are really important to you. If that's interesting to you, email me and we'll find a time that works. I do them all virtually at your convenience. So I'm going to put my email in the chat right now. It is keith@meditationbreaks.com. Okay, there we go. Please spelling. Spelling looks okay. All right, that's my email. Feel free to email me if you're interested in a one-on-one or you just got a question about meditation as you're doing this on your own. Feel free to email me at any time. And those who have emailed me and I'm very behind. And I'm look, guys, we all have our strengths. All right, keeping on top of things like that is something I have to work on. So I appreciate your patience. I'm going to play a little catch up with that. I really appreciate you all being here. I love teaching meditation, and I couldn't do that without you. And so thank you for taking time out of your very busy day and dedicating it to be here with me and to learn something new. So hopefully you are feeling a little bit more relaxed, and I do hope to see all of you next time. All right, take care.